Greetings, guys and girls, and a very warm welcome, watchers. You fine and fantastic people. The sun is shining and the magpie is casting. Coming at you guys right now, pardon me, with the 4th weekly Artifact Cup here in Deserts of Karak. That's right, the map for this this best of 3 in the round of 8 is gonna be Galzian territories, and spawning in the south, playing as the Kenefi forces, it is gonna be PoK. And spawning in the north as soon as I press reveal all, playing as the Galzian forces, it is gonna be Kragl. Kragl here repping quite a nice shade of sort of pinky purple on his Galzian carrier. A nice touch there, very nice, very nice. Let's see if his skills at picking colours for fleets are up to his skills at managing those fleets in combat. We'll find out shortly. So let's see, let's switch to the production tab here and then we can keep an eye on what these two players are getting up to. Looks like PoK here is going to be moving on out with his base runner here, as the Kenefi forces are wont to do. The base runner, of course, for the Kenefi forces can kind of defend itself to some extent because it does have the ability to produce for 150 CUs the blast drone, which is kind of like a baneling. It's just like a suicide unit that you can send in. And you know, as long as you trade for 2 or more sand skimmers, the blast drone pays for itself, and so yeah, it can be quite cool. The base runner, of course, also can deploy smoke to buy itself some time, so you'll often see Kenefi players play a little bit recklessly with their base runners because they can defend themselves to a better extent than, say, the Galzian equivalent. Now, let's see. Looks like PoK here, let's check the tech. Quite a delayed sand skimmer fabrication, coming in at around about the 1 minute 30, 1 minute 25 mark it was, I suppose. So sand skimmer fabrication considerably delayed. That's enabled him to squeeze out a couple of resource collectors. So he's built an additional 4 resource collectors. That builds him, or salvages, sorry. That puts him up to 8, so he can long distance mine the CUs at this second base location here. Pardon me. For Kragl, it looks like just 6 salvages here, and he's going to be moving out with his production cruiser. Sand skimmer fabrication has finished for the Galzian player, and he is going to be moving on out here, and with 2 sand skimmers and a production cruiser on the front, that pretty much represents field control here for Kragl, so he's going to be moving on out and looking to flex his muscles here. Now, there are actually 2 base runners, so by delaying sand skimmer fabrication, PoK not only has the additional salvages, but it looks like he's gone for another base runner, so he's going to be able to grab 2 artifacts at once. Now, a blast drone is finished, smoke is popped on this base runner, so PoK here going to hide in the smoke and use his blast drone. I imagine he could get a triple kill on these sand skimmers. That would be quite spicy here. He's got 2 blast drones. Ooh. And you have to be careful with that. Oh! Okay, so he traded 2 blast drones for 3 sand skimmers, which actually breaks even, because that's 300 CUs on each side. But a little bit clumsy. No need to lose the 2 blast drones there. He could have just microed one away and then blown up the other one on the sand skimmers. A couple of sand skimmers here for PoK, going to be coming on out to escort his base runners. The first one just now about to score his artifact. Here we go. Dong. There we go, and that is 1-all, in fact, as the base runner here of Kragl going to grab the artifact that spawned over here in the west. But it looks like PoK here is going to make it 2-1, because of course he did have the double base runner, and although there are 4-5 sand skimmers closing in here versus just the 2 for PoK, they're not going to be in time. Nice blast drone there, takes out 2 of his opponent's sand skimmers, so now it's 2 versus 3. This fight could go on for some time. Going to secure this artifact here is PoK. That is going to make the scoreline 2-1. Little sand skimmer skirmish here. Not sure how much I like committing with these sand skimmers. I mean, 2 against 3, you're always going to lose badly, and it looks like he's going to lose both his sand skimmers for just one of his opponents here as PoK. But he's buying a lot of time, but whoa, these sand skimmers are not actually shooting. He's like strafing them around to keep them out of the arc. What? Okay, that was a bit crazy there for a second, but yeah, there we go. They do go down. And as I was saying, it's kind of a little bit, I mean, he's buying time where these sand skimmers aren't attacking him by sacrificing his sand skimmers and drawing them over here, which, I mean, it's not awful, but I don't know. I think I like retreating this way. Looks like assault ship tech has finished for PoK, and indeed for Kragl, as we do see assault ships coming out. You can see on the production tab here. Whoa, that production tab's gotten a bit funky. There we go. The Homeworld Deserts of Karak replay viewer, still a couple of little bugs here and there, a couple of little things that do need some work, one of which is the fact that sometimes the production tab, the icons kind of overlap on top of each other, which is what just happened. I mean, it's easily sorted, but it is, you know, slightly annoying. Probably the main thing that I would say does need improving, though, is the ability to see the other player, like the red player's research and tech, which is not a thing that I can do at the moment, but in a way that makes it quite exciting to cast, I suppose, because I constantly have to second guess and use my knowledge of the game to figure out what he might be going for. But anyway, pardon me. That is all a bit of a digression. Right now we've got a fight here. Looks like 3 assault ships, a couple of sand skimmers here for Kragl, and for Pook it's 3 assault ships. There is a blast drone here as well. Actually, if Pook wanted to take this fight, I think he could. That's the sound of a cruise missile, and here it comes, flailing on in. Boom, gets a little bit of damage on one of the assault ships. That's the Knef carrier here doing its thing, and he's got 2 artifacts here, has Pook, so he's got 2 system power into the missile systems. That is going to enable him to actually... Whoa, if these assault ships stay clustered up like that, that'll be a disaster. They're getting softened up by the AoE attacks here from Pook's assault ships. Whoa, Pook's assault ships also clustering up and taking tons of AoE. Whoa, he needs to get back, losing one of his assault ships there. This cruise missile could be golden! Lovely, killing off 2 assault ships and maiming the last one there. Let's see how good his aim is. I hear another cruise missile coming in. Looks like he's going to aim short here. I think he might have fired that just before this assault ship started moving, so can't blame him there for the miss. It's quite a skill-intensive thing, by the way, to micro this Knef carrier with the missiles. Because, okay, the missiles, as you can see, are on the X button here. So what you have to do is, you know, for me, I always keep my carrier on 6. So you press 6, then press X, and then it's like X, click, X, click, X, click, like that to fire off a salvo. But if you mess that up even slightly, you select the unit that's under it, you select another unit, you deselect the carrier. And, of course, you have to do this quite often because the cruise missiles construct at a rate of, like, 1 every 3 or 4 seconds. So if you, at the moment, he's got 2 power, so that means he needs to fire his salvo every 6 seconds to make efficient use of those missiles. And when you're trying to micro this game, which at the best of times is quite an intensive thing to do, having that as like one more plate to be spinning for the Knefi player is both very engaging, very rewarding, very interesting, but it is very taxing. Like, you have to really stay on top of that. So anyway, just a minor point there, and I would go so far as to say, you know, cruise missile accuracy and the frequency with which the cruise missiles are, you know, efficiently used. That is one of the key defining factors of a good or skilled Knefi player. Very nice hits here coming down from Pook. Very nice hits. And you can see, look how much of a difference that made. This was 4 assault ships versus 3 and a sandstorm and a blast drone. Normally the 4 assault ships there in with a very good chance of making that fight look good. But not here because of the cruise missiles from the Knef carrier. So very nice to see the Knef faction's unique edges here being displayed. He's going to chase over the sand dune here using the high ground advantage. Going to knock off another couple of assault ships here. Another cruise missile comes screaming in. And Pook, that's a near miss. So Pook looking pretty good with those cruise missiles. Looks like the assault carrier, sorry, the production cruiser. Pardon me. Looks like the production cruiser here for Kragl gonna take up position, denying this 3rd mining location here for Pook. There are 6 sand skimmers in position here, but that actually represents the complete military might here for Kragl, which does leave me quite concerned because he's not even got refinery mode as far as I can tell, which I can't check, but so he's not actually mining off of 2 locations here. Pook has moved out with his carrier, but he's left his production cruiser at home, so both players economically in a similar situation, I guess, but it's Pook who has the far superior army situation. Kragl has secured a 2nd artifact, which you can see here. The scoreline now 2-all, but Pook still has his 2 base runners, and they are both securing artifacts right now. Looks like Siege Cruiser tech was the choice here for Pook. Sorry I didn't catch that. The Siege Cruiser is out now, using its indirect fire mode to shift this production cruiser a little bit. The artifacts are now being scored, and that makes it 4-2. So Pook's poised on the verge of victory here. Kragl commits the Galzian carrier out into the field. He does have 2 artifacts, so he has a number 6 power chips available to use for the Galzian carrier, and you can see the chain gun spinning up now. Looks like he's put it into weapon range and carrier speed here. He should put the other 2 into he should put at least 1, I think, into weapon power, and maybe 1 into repairs. Now the Knef carrier here is going to start cruise missiling the Galzian carrier, and those cruise missiles really pack a punch. The Galzian carrier is big and quite slow, like all carriers, and until he can get some more power into speed, that is. So he's going to have a very hard time dodging those cruise missiles. If Pook is on point with the timing and firing them, which at the moment he's only firing 1 or 2 every so often, so he could be firing much more frequently. He could be really stacking damage onto this Galzian carrier, and that's going to be a problem for Kragl, who has very little else going on. It's just his carrier pretty much just pushing around the board. I mean, he has these 3 sand skimmers, but that's nothing to write home about. And there are 2 siege cruisers out here now for Pook, and this carrier is in a very exposed location. Look, Pook is on 3 power into his cruise missile systems, but he's only firing missiles. Okay, now he's firing some slightly bigger salvos, but I'd love to see him just empty 3 at a time into this carrier. I feel like if he'd been efficiently using these salvos, look, you can see he's now back at 2. I think if he was efficiently using these salvos, he could almost have had this thing destroyed by now. Why is he only firing 1? Because he's got a salvo of 3. He could be literally tripling or even quadrupling his damage here if he was just firing those more often. And that would put this carrier very close to dead. The reason I'm making such a big deal of this, of course, is if you destroy your opponent's carrier, It's a win. So this has to be priority number 1 right now. It has to be outputting damage onto this carrier, as a couple more cruise missiles do begin to slam home here from the Knef carrier. This Galzian carrier is just going balls deep into the middle of nothing here. This is not where you want to be. I don't quite understand. I mean, if he powers down some weapons and puts a lot into speed and repairs, I think he could probably still get this carrier out of here. It will be close, but I think it can be done. But I mean, what's he really, like, what's the line of play here? In fact, how many resources is Kragl stacking here? 1,200 CUs. Okay, he just spent it on something. But he's still stacking a lot of resources. Pook likewise, actually. So let's take a look at the production tab here. Looks like Kragl also making a siege cruiser, but remember, his will be the Galzian one, which is much better on a barraging support role, but much less good in a direct fight engagement. More siege cruiser barrage is going to be spanking this Galzian carrier as Kragl desperately attempts to retreat across the map here. Indirect fire barrage being used. He's chasing and bullying this siege cruiser with his carrier. He's got a lot of power he's not allocating as well. I'd love to see him put that into weapon power or repairs here. Probably repairs, actually. But, yeah, this siege cruiser here is going to probably go down here. So Pook's going to lose one of his siege cruisers. But, I mean, he's got 3. There it goes. Boom. So he's still got another 2, which he can harry this Galzian carrier with. His own carrier is spewing cruise missiles into this Galzian carrier. Ugh, the damage is real on those. And there's just nothing here, is there? There's nothing here for Kragl. So he will be going down. This is going to be a 1-0 lead in this best of 3. Pook here for the Knefi forces, taking a game. Kragl here is going to have to win the next 2 games as his siege cruiser pops out in the middle of combat. That is not particularly where it wants to be. So he's going to have to back that one up. But I mean, as I said, I think it's all for naught here. If Pook just focuses, I would love to see him make better use of these cruise missile salvos. If Pook here just focuses the Galzian carrier, bang, bang, additional hits coming in from the siege cruisers, then this game should be over very soon. Sort of power levels, not enough in repairs. I think Kragl, if he just shifted everything to repairs, the Galzian carrier is so damn durable then. But anyway, there goes the carrier. Kragl going to lose this game. Pook picks up a 1-0 lead in this best of 3 to kick off the round of 8 of the 4th Artifact Cup. Here in Hubal Deserts of Karak. So without further ado, I am going to jump into game 2 and cast that one. So I'll catch you guys there momentarily. Hello, hi, welcome back to game 2 of this best of 3 series in the round of 8 of the 4th Artifact Weekly Cup between Pook playing as the Knef and Kragl playing as the Galzian. The map for game 2 is going to be Firebase Krill. Yep, it is Kragl here with a lot of work to do. He's down a game, and to be honest, I didn't really feel like he achieved that much in game 1. There was never a moment where I really felt like he had the upper hand, and so we're going to have to see if he can turn that around. Anyway, spawning in the south, playing as the Knef forces, it is going to be Pook. And playing in the north, playing as the Galzian forces, it is going to be Kragl. So, yep, Firebase Krill, a slightly more, how can I put this, intricate map, I suppose. You've got these structures in the middle, these kind of built-up areas like this. These are like impassable terrain, so you can, you know, there's some scope here for scheming and moving and juking and jiving and hustling your foe a little bit here. You can actually, you know, make some cerebral decisions and outposition your foe. There's just more to this map in terms of terrain. Some players like that, some players don't. Anyway, you've also got these little wibbly bases here, which are fantastic. If you can put your railguns along these ridges as a Galzian player, you're always feeling pretty happy. Now, looks like the production cruiser here for Kragl going to be moving out, accompanying the base runner. The base runner for Pook here going to be moving out solo, as the Knef base runner is wont to do. It does, of course, have the does have the blast drones and the smoke. That's the word I'm looking for. Nice job there, Magpie Pro casting as ever. Let's see, so, okay, so it looks like Pook not going to mix it up, going for the second base runner, going for the delayed sand skimmer fabrication, which is just now coming down, going to be going for the extra salvagers, which, hang on a second, he has opened up this resource patch, but he has not told them to harvest. Okay, there we go. So a little bit of mining time lost on those salvagers, nothing too bad, hopefully he's not going to get punished for it, but that's never optimal, never what you want to do. Looks like we just got here in time to see one blast drone trade for one sand skimmer. Not efficient in terms of... Pardon me, in terms of construction units, that's 150 for 100, but, you know, again, not that bad either. So Pook just not quite getting things, you know, to go quite his way here in the early game, but, you know, it's not awful either. Looks like the smoke is going to be used on this base runner. Another blast drone just trading 1 for 1 there. I guess if that's what he wants to do, then he can do it, but it's not exactly very efficient. Let's switch to the production tab here and have a look at what what Kragl is making. Looks like salvagers and sand skimmers right now. and the artifacts will spawn. Krogel going to grab this one in the middle, and I imagine he'll get that one out. Pook's going to grab this one here in the east, and I imagine he'll probably get that one out. Oh yeah, by the way, this is one of those maps where your home spawning location is closest to your opponent's extraction zone, not yours. So Pook here closest to Krogel's extraction zone, and Krogel here closest to Pook's extraction zone. So that makes it easier to defend than on some other maps. Looks like these sand skimmers. Oh, there's a blast drone here. Oh, is he going to get 4 sand skimmers? Oh, this blast drone desperately juking and driving, looking for a hit here. Just take the hit, mate. Go on. That looks good. That looks good. That looks like 4. Oh, he misses the 4 pickup there. The base runner goes down with the artifact. Now the blast drones are just kind of standing here idle. I feel like there was several opportunities where he could have detonated those blast drones to get damage. Okay, he gets 4 sand skimmers there for 2 blast drones, so still efficient there, but I think he could have actually squeezed out a little more value even. Looks like each player is going to secure 1 artifact. Boom, there goes the score there for Pook, and for Krogel momentarily it will be scoring, so expect to see the scoreline looking like 1-1 very shortly. Let's take a look. Let's check the tech here. He's going straight for siege cruisers. Same build as last game from Pook here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. I'd love to be able to tell you what Krogel's researching, but of course I can't. And which looks like an artifact just about to score here. Oof, there we go. So Krogel gonna even this game up 1 game apiece, and by killing his opponent's base runner, I mean that is, you know, how is this game different from the first game? Well, he killed his opponent's base runner, which means that the scoreline is now 1-1, not 2-1. So Krogel already doing things a little bit better, getting off to a slightly better position in this game. He's got a load of salvagers sat here looking like they want to blow up this wreck, and like start harvesting. I'm not quite sure why he's not doing that. One has to assume he's going for refinery mode. I can't tell, of course, because he's the red player. The replay was obviously sent in by Pook, not Krogel. But, yep, can't tell on that one, can't tell. Heavy railgun here, gonna spawn. Looks like, so railgun tech has been the tech of choice for Krogel. I like that. Let's see. For Pook, it is the assault ships. So those heavy railguns for Krogel gonna line up nicely against the assault ships from Pook. Of course, those railguns do like making big holes in assault ships. That is something that they can and will do almost all day. And it looks like he is continuing to produce them, up to 2 now, going to 3. He's going to have to be a bit careful. He's going to need something to buffer, because otherwise these sand skimmers could just run in. Okay, he has a few sand skimmers of his own, but remember, sand skimmers very effective against railguns, so if Pook commits to a few more sand skimmers, he only has 2 right now, which is quite strange, but if Pook does commit to additional sand skimmers, then Krogel could be in trouble if those sand skimmers overrun his railguns. Let's just take a look. Looks like refinery mode going to finish in about 10 seconds here for Pook. And that's going to enable him to step up his resource operations. Krogel looks like still no sign of refinery mode, as these salvagers are going to take the long walk here. His production cruisers, though, are in a position that makes it look like he wants to go for refinery mode soon. And here we have a fight as a couple of assault ships going to move into position. Krogel's railguns awkwardly not in a place where they can actually see. Now they start taking some shots. Padoof, padoof. And that will probably prompt Pook here to get his assault ships the hell out of there, because all they're going to achieve there is their own demise. If Krogel's feeling really nice, what you can do is put these railguns up here on the roof here, on like just here, and then you can like snipe down using the sand skimmers for vision. I think that would work. Anyway, he's going to find himself a nice little patch of high ground advantage here. He's going to ping off one of these assault ships, but again, look, now he's just kind of behind this sand dune. Krogel, sorry. Pardon me. Krogel, you need to work on this railgun positioning, and now he's just getting done in by 2 sand skimmers. Oh god, please don't lose a railgun, sir. Looks like he's not going to do it. He's got enough sand skimmers of his own to hold that. And let's see. Looks like the Knef carrier moving out onto the map as I take a sip on my drink. The Knef carrier moving out onto the map now. Let's just check the tech here. Siege cruiser fabrication has finished, and the siege cruiser is just about to finish here for Pook, and that will be quite pokey, or pooky as the case might be. That will be a reasonably spicy unit. Here it is just now finishing. Let's have a look at that mighty beast. Rawr! It is angry and ready for combat. That siege cruiser, I mean, the siege cruiser carrier push here is pretty good. He's only secured 1 artifact, so he only has 3 chips of power available. So this Knef carrier, not nearly as dangerous as it was last game, But there are additional artifacts available to salvage. PoOK has built a second base runner again, so this is his third base runner this game, and he's going to be grabbing what looks like 2 of these artifacts, and blast drones are on the field to defend them, so that's quite nice. Looks like the Knef carrier loosing off a cruise missile or 2, gets a hit on the production cruiser. The railgun's going to pick off the assault ship of PoOK here, so Krogl getting some damage done, but oh! That cruise missile just going to smite down the railgun there, very nice. So that's all looking pretty good. Another siege cruiser on the production tab for PoOK. Krogl, mate, what are you doing with your resources? Because he's not producing. He's like floating nearly 1,200 resources. I'm so confused right now. What? Krogl, buddy, got to spend your money if you want to win. I guess he has refinery mode. Let's watch this salvager here, which is nearly full. Okay, yeah, so he does have refinery mode. Okay, so what are you gonna... Okay, so now Krogl starts building sand skimmers, but I mean, PoOK has siege cruisers and assault ships, so sand skimmers don't really cut the mustard, as Krogl goes up to 2-1, shortly to be 3-1, this base runner here about to score. Looks like Krogl going to desperately try and grab this one, but there's already a siege cruiser looking mighty angry. A decent glancing hit from that cruise missile from the Knef carrier there. Going to help as well. Looks like actually 2 siege cruisers now out, and they're just bullying the field right now. Here comes some sand skimmers, but they don't really face off very well against assault ships and stuff. So, like, even this one assault ship is going to trade way above average in terms of damage. Here comes an indirect fire barrage, going to find the production cruiser here. A couple of cruise missiles flying in. And these sand skimmers, okay, so they get up on top of this siege cruiser, but remember the Knefi siege cruisers are considerably well armoured. So like you can just see the shots like pinging and ricocheting off the armoured hull of this unit. Oh, okay, now that's one thing you do have to be careful of. The Knef siege cruisers do AoE splash damage, and they do love hosing down your own units. So these rockets are actually doing more damage to the siege cruiser by far than the sand skimmers. He's going to have to be careful of that. Now a railgun starts chipping in, a heavy railgun at long range chipping in there. Let's move the camera so we can fit that one into the frame. And it doesn't take many hits from a heavy railgun. Poof! To complete the kill on a wounded cruiser like this. Oh, well, just one more hit will be good enough. Okay, yeah, there we go. So he picks up one of the siege cruisers there, does Krogl. But I mean, what is his army right now? Is it just one heavy railgun after he loses this one here? Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that one heavy railgun does not beat 2 siege cruisers, a Knef carrier, 2 assault ships, and 2 sand skimmers, which, by the way, is a ragtag army by itself. There should be more sand skimmers on the field for both players. This is just strange. Krogl right now building railguns 3 at a time, but I mean, look, they're just getting outfoxed by sand skimmers, so this doesn't really work. Here comes the Galzian carrier, going to come across here to shield, but now there's siege cruisers up in the resource line, salvagers taking fire, production cruisers taking fire, and I think for Krogl this may already be too late. I mean, we're going to see. He's going to start batting down these sand skimmers with his carrier. Let's check out the power reserves on that. So he has access to 5 chips of power. In fact, no, actually, Krogl does have 3 artifacts to just the one of... Oh, sorry, no, it's the wrong way around. Okay. No, it's PoOK who has 3 artifacts. So that means that Krogl must have researched some power reserves for his carrier. More indirect fire barrages coming down on these siege cruisers, who, by the way, each have a bar of efficiency. Very nice work there. And I think if PoOK wants to, he can tighten the noose a little bit here. He can come in with his Knef carrier. There's no need to be so timid, I believe. I mean, he probably doesn't know that, but it's the case, that's for sure. I'd love to see him make another production cruiser, honestly, because look how much resources he's floating. PoOK is now floating 2,300 CUs. A production cruiser costs 600. He could build like 2 more, and then he'd be like mining off of like these 2 locations and producing many, many, many more military units. So I have to feel like PoOK's micro does need some work. I mean, there's no... Okay, there we go. So he just spends it all on something there. Okay, yeah, well, he's just queued up 3 siege cruisers. That is not exactly what I had in mind. Because obviously, look, money that's like on your production queue here, this is literally doing nothing. Yeah, you've got it out of here where it's kind of doing nothing, but, you know, it is most efficient to have 1 unit at a time on the production queue, because the other units on the production queue are resources that have been spent but are not presently reaping any benefit. So, that's suboptimal. But not the end of the world. Looks like Krogl here moving on out with the Galzian carrier, and I kind of get the feeling like this is just another forlorn move out. I don't think he's going to be able to achieve a lot here. Pursuing PoOK's carrier as he is, but the Knef carrier more than capable of firing its cruise missiles backwards, and you know, doing quite a considerable amount of damage. The Knef carrier still does have the self-repair, you know, like, system that you can put power into, so if he really feels like his carrier is in serious jeopardy, he can always up the amount of power he has in this self-repair, but I mean, it's not really in jeopardy. The power here for Krogl is mixed across all systems, but you know, it's not enough really. I mean, like, he just doesn't have the power reserves he needs to make this Galzian carrier a significant weapon right now. So I believe the Galzian carrier kind of getting spit roasted here by a couple of siege cruisers. There are heavy railguns actually now chipping in. That is actually significantly going to help the race here. The damage race here. Uh-oh. Krogel, buddy, you need to get this carrier out of here. Heavy railguns do not take prisoners, and there's a fourth one showing up here. If this Galzian carrier wants to put like most of its power into repairs and speed in a second and disengage, there is a chance that these siege cruisers, these heavy railguns with correct micro could finish the job here. If he brings these sand skimmers across, has he just forgotten about these sand skimmers? Oh, Krogel. Anyway, because he could bring the sand skimmers across to scout here, and then he could use the heavy railguns to ping down this carrier. I think that has to be his priority, but it looks like he's content for now to try and take on these siege cruisers, which I don't really think he should be doing. A fourth artifact there getting scored here, so Krogel now, or rather Pook at match point. He just needs one more artifact. These heavy railguns doing their best to ping down the siege cruisers, but the Galzian carrier is kind of taking quite the broadside here, hemorrhaging, pardon me, hemorrhaging health in the process. Whoa, we're up to 4 siege cruisers now? Wow. Wow. I mean, I don't want to like pass judgment on this game, and I'm sure that these two players really are giving it their all. But I mean, it is probably obvious to even a reasonably casual RTS observer or watcher right now that this is. Whoa, that Galzian carrier getting all jiggity with the suspension there. What is this? He's got some kind of lowrider. Wow. They see him rolling. Yeah, it should be obvious to, you know, like I was saying, even the most casual RTS observer, that this game basically is a skill level down from what we see sometimes from Quicksilver, A-Gamer, Sparrow, Tran. Like, players of that caliber don't tend to stack up this many resources. They'll be active with all their units. There'll be fights going on all across the field. They will have macroed up to 3 locations mining by now. So I think it's fair to say that this represents, you know, less than top-tier play. But there's nothing wrong with that, and you can still learn a lot from watching it, and you still, you know, there's still a lot to be gained from watching this, and definitely, if nothing else, if these two players do keep up the practice and do keep playing, we'll be able to see them evolve, so it's actually quite nice to see players at this stage in their development, I think. And certainly for me, you know, I'm far from top tier, so it's actually quite relevant for me to watch these games as well, so I'm certainly learning. Anyway, looks like this Galzian carrier will shortly be going down, taking hits from a trio of siege cruisers, the cruise missiles also flailing in from that Knef carrier, and boom, there we have it. Pook gonna take down this best of 3 match. He's gonna be moving through to the round of 4. Congratulations to you, good sir. So yeah, Pook, we're gonna see you in the round of 4, buddy. Now, in this replay pack, I've only been sent 2 of the round of 8 replay packs, so I'll cast the other round of 8 match, and then we'll be moving straight into the round of 4. Which I haven't looked, but I assume I have all of the round of 4 replays. I haven't looked, but I'm pretty sure I do. Anyway, so yes, yeah, without further ado, let's move on and cast the next best of 3 in the round of 8 of the 4th weekly Artifact Cup in Homeworld Deserts of Karak. ESL. Magpie 842. I think that's everything. Meh.